The Washington Post is calling out President Biden for not taking death toll numbers reported by Hamas terrorists. Why would he? Last week, President Biden casted doubt on data provided by Gaza's Ministry of Health.
I have no notion that the Palestinians are telling the truth about how many people are killed. I'm sure innocents have been killed, and it's the price of waging a war. I have no confidence in the number that the Palestinians are using.
But leave it to the Washington Post to claim that the president's marks were misinformed. The Post chief fact checker, his name's Glenn Kessler. I speculate he's often napping. He doesn't fact check Dems, but he'll wake up to defend Hamas. The Gaza Health Ministry has had a pretty good track record with its death estimates over the years, notwithstanding that it is part of the Hamas-run government, and Biden is in a position to know that. Kennedy, Glenn Kessler, targets Republicans, often leaves Democrats alone, but come on, he wants to defend Hamas. He wakes up, he goes after Biden.
I mean, we look at the White House press secretary delivering propaganda on behalf of the president, right? But you don't expect that a member of the press whose power is codified in the First Amendment is going to be propagandizing for Hamas. This one I really don't understand. You could have taken a pause because clearly the New York Times stepped in it repeatedly when they came out and did their reporting, based their reporting on Hamas talking points. They got it wrong. They had to issue a retraction. And this is just one of those aspects where you wonder what has happened with reporting. So much of it is completely upside down, and it is ideologically driven.
Well, Emily, how can Mr. Kessler be so sure that Hamas is correct? Here's how. He says the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs tracks deaths in the conflict and has found the ministry's numbers to be reliable. So the UN says it. Who targets Israel, it must be true.
I mean, he can keep referencing liar after liar after liar and enemy after enemy after enemy. But we all know the whole point is it is not credible. It is a farce. And therefore, he is a farce for furthering those lies. He's not alone. The New York Times, remember when Hamas first invaded Israel, couldn't decide whether to call them terrorists or gunmen. When it first happened, they rightly identified them as Hamas terrorists, and then they went on to call them gunmen after that. And then not to mention the despicable, for example, assumption by the BBC during the hospital incident where they said, surely, quote, it had to be Israel. And that was based only on their assumption because of the firepower. The assumptions and the concepts being put forth here, all they serve to do is pull the curtain back on, again, that anti-Semitism and the fact that they are doing the work of Hamas for Hamas.
Yeah. And Paul, good old Glenn. Okay, not only is it Hamas talking points, Rashida Tlaib talking points too. Listen to what he says about the hospital. The source of the explosion remains unclear. A Washington Post visual investigation found that the damage was not consistent with an airstrike and probably not consistent with artillery shell, but reporters could not conclusively determine the cause. U.S. intelligence has determined it, the Associated Press has determined it, but WAPO can't.
Yeah, so they're picking a side. These are the same folks who bought into the 51 intelligence officers who signed the Hunter laptop letter, and we're supposed to take this guy seriously.
Good point.
So, remember something here. At some point, you have to pick a side here, and the Hamas caucus that's emerging on the campuses very clearly has a presence in Congress and very clearly has a presence in our media. These are likely folks who were very similar when they were in college, graduated, they were interns, et cetera. They've drank the same Kool-Aid, and now they're in a position of power. But at the end of the day, legally, Hamas is a terrorist group. They're designated by the U.S. government. And what I don't understand is the following, and this is why the WAPO and New York Times and a lot of our media from where I sit are dropping the ball. Why aren't we hearing the following? We got 32 Americans dead, right? We have at least 10 American hostages. Hamas did it. The leadership of Hamas resides in a nominal American ally, Qatar.
That's right.
We have our biggest Middle East base there. We have at least 6 major universities with a major presence there. We're probably half their economy. Imagine if after 9/11, UBL and Zawahiri lived in Canada. Would we indict them? Would we ask for their extradition? Where is that request? Where's the indictments?
Great point.
Indict Hamas's leadership and get them back here.
Yeah, that's a great question. Look, Emily, I mean, you nailed it. The United Nations today decided that it would give a prestigious job, the chairship of the Human Rights Division, to Iran. That's happening as we're on the air. That's going to be their position now. They gave it to Iran. human rights. They treat women like animals they want to just kill. And then they hire terrorists around the world to be their proxies and come after us. I mean, this is crazy. They're on our soil with the ability to say the trash they say about beheading and killing and wiping, annihilating all Jews off the planet. And they want Christians too. And anybody who's a soft Arab, whatever the heck that means. On our soil, the UN, I asked Vivek Ramaswamy last hour, he said he'd get rid of it, pull us out. And it's like, pull us out, kick them out. They're on our soil.
Amen.
Yeah, a good rule of thumb, if Hamas puts babies in ovens, they should not be trusted. They should not be trusted.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.